I hate gift giving and receiving.
Receiving gifts is so weird. What do you say? Thank you?
This is Coffee Convos with Kail Lowry and Lindsie Chrisley.
I really want you to be in your feels, Kail.
That does not interest me whatsoever.
I feel very attacked by you.
A spirited discussion about motherhood, friendship, family, and life in the public eye.
I'm just not with the fakery anymore.
There's a fakery bakery around here.
Here's Kail and Lindsie.
Happy July 1st. Happy July for all the Coffee Combos listeners.
How are you, kitty cat?
I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. I had a lot going on last week. I have a lot going on next week. So this is the week that I need to collect myself, if you will. How are you? What are you up to? You're in Florida.
I am. Can you not tell by my fluffy hair?
I'm happy for I had my hair braided last night and then I took it out this morning and we're going horseback riding later. So I was like, this is what it is. But I have to tell you, Lux is very, very upset because you said you were going to kidnap him. And then we went to Atlanta and you were not in Atlanta. So he was upset the entire time, every single day. Well, where is Lindsie? When is she coming back? And then just now he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I have to go record with Lindsie. And he's like, the one that said she's going to take me and didn't. And I was like, I'll let her know you're upset.
Not the abandoned child.
Very upset. He thought that y'all were going to, because you have no rules. So he thought that he was going to have a yes time in Atlanta.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something about my no rule shit. It's starting to wear on me. It really, it's doing a number. And at the point that the kids realize that there are no rules, they just keep pushing and pushing to the next level of shit. Yep. And I'm about sick of it.
This past week, the kids' behavior has been so insane that I was like, okay, we're going to change it up a little bit. When you wake up in the morning, you're going to clean the bathroom. I don't care if it was clean from the day before. Every single day I come in this bathroom and it's a mess. You're going to clean the bathroom, brush your teeth, do what you got to do. Make sure your room is straightened before we leave the room for the day, because the way that we have been operating for the past 30 days since school left out, it's not been good. They have no electronics. They have no iPads. They have no PlayStation, because we do have a PlayStation in the house and we have an Xbox, Lincoln's Xbox. But now that, Lincoln's not here, they're not getting on anything. So it's been a little rough, but the behavior here at the lake has been great. So no complaints.
You know, it's the wanting to stay up all night, not wanting to get up at a reasonable time. When you do get up, why are we eating ice cream? That's not breakfast. So That's what I'm dealing with over here.
Okay. I have been there. Emily's here with me and she's here with her kids. And so as soon as we got here to the lake, we were like, okay, last year we sort of let the kids stay up and put themselves to bed, essentially, whenever they started to get really tired. And it didn't work out well for us because we were basically pulling our hair out at 10 p.m. So this year we were like, let's make sure that the kids go to bed between 9 and 10. They're less miserable. They're less cranky. They're less tired. We've been here for 2 nights and it's already night and day difference.
Really?
Yeah. I was a little nervous they were going to fight us on it, but they really, because they're so tired after playing all day.
Okay. I have to ask you, when you're on vacation, do you let your kids just actually, let me back that up. At home, do you let your kids just eat anywhere, or are y'all table eaters?
No, I mean, sometimes they'll eat at the coffee table in the living room, but we're mostly table eaters. I will find, obviously, you have a son, you understand that snack wrappers end up where they shouldn't. Yes. But if I know they're eating, they need to eat at the table.
In the couch cushions, all the things, right?
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts because I was not raised like that. We were raised that tables were made for eating, beds were made for sleeping, and couches were made for lounging. So there is no food that's going to be on a couch. And it absolutely drives me nuts when I go into a living room and I see little bite wrappers shoved in between couch cushions or behind them.
Yeah, I can agree. I'll find wrappers and crumbs in my couch and I'm like, oh no.
No, I didn't pay for it for that, No.
Absolutely not.
I know that this is going to be late news, but while I was outside porch sitting last night, I was going through my messages on Instagram, And did you see the shit that I sent you about Bryan Kohberger accepting a plea deal?
Yes, I did. And I was shook.
I cannot.
But here's my question though, because I didn't want to read any of it. I wanted to be able to discuss it on here. I just saw like headlines. He was trying to say originally that he didn't do it at all, right?
I know. He entered a not guilty plea initially. Like in his plea.
So is he saying like, okay, I'm going to say that I did that? Like, is he admitting guilt is what I'm saying? Or is he doing this so that he's not?
Yeah. So it says, one of the families had made a statement and said, we weren't even called about the plea. We received an email with a letter attached. It says that's how the county prosecutor's office treats murder victims' families, adding insult to injury. They're pushing the plea, giving families just one day to coordinate to appear at the courthouse for the pleading on July 2nd. So for us, while we're recording this, that will be tomorrow. So I'm very interested to see exactly what goes down in this hearing. But it does say in another quote, by taking the plea deal, Bryan Kohberger would basically avoid a sentence that would require his execution. It says the deal came as a surprise. Only a jury can sentence him to death. Regardless, he will likely spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of ever being in society again. I mean, it says that the families will not have to go through the stress of the trial, and they virtually guaranteed the virtually guaranteed appeal process in the event that Kohberger was convicted at trial. The judge will take his guilty plea and then set a hearing for Kohberger to be sentenced, and he can absolutely expect to spend the rest of his life behind bars.
So he must have known that he wasn't going to, no matter what his team said, he was never going to get away with this. So, I mean, I'll be honest with you, though. I do think he had the chance of being acquitted.
That's what I was talking about last night. I'm
shocked by this because I really think that he could have been acquitted.
If you look at just some other of the trials that have been highly media publicized and just things that have happened, it could go either way. Like we can sit on a podcast and say, oh, he's guilty of sin, but there could be something that is presented at trial that a juror would say, yes, it's reasonable to think that he did it. And lots of evidence proves that he likely did do it, but there is a likelihood that he might not have. Or you've got to think about the theory too. Are they going to present at trial that he might have had somebody working with him?
I'm shocked by this because, I mean, I went down a rabbit hole on TikTok with like forensic experts that have like TikTok accounts, and they have also said they would not be shocked if he was acquitted. And that's sort of the direction that I thought. I think that he's guilty, obviously, but it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. And if Jodi Arias, if OJ Simpson, if, all of these people can be acquitted, I do think that it was possible. So I'm shocked that he didn't, at least because he gives narcissistic vibes, in my opinion. So I feel like I'm surprised he didn't think, oh, I'm just going to let this, because if it were me, I mean, I'm not killing anyone, but if it were me, I'm taking it all the way with the chance that I could get acquitted.
I think in the situation that that the death penalty is on the table, and let's say there was a guilty verdict and the jury all voted for the death penalty. I think for him and probably his counsel, they know what evidence is stacked against him.
Okay, but wouldn't he sit on death row for like years and years and years and years and years? Like, I don't know anyone that has been sentenced to death and dies right away. Like, it's like a long fucking time.
I know, but I'm just saying there is a chance, of scheduled execution at whatever date, whether that be like 20 years from now. I mean, maybe it's just something that he decided he didn't want to go through the trial. He knew that he would not get the death penalty if he took this plea. Kristen's saying she's pissed for the families and that people think that the DoorDash driver being a witness might have freaked him out. She also said it's typically 20 to 30 years from what she read from the time of the conviction, I guess. So
I just Googled it, and it literally says the average time an inmate spends on death row before execution in the United States is roughly 20 years. So like, what the death penalty, I don't know. It's always easier said than done, right? Like, it's not us would be facing the death penalty, but like, you also brutally murdered 4 people. Like, you sort of deserve to be.
And this might be unpopular opinion, but I feel like he should sit and suffer. I feel like that is a level of justice, knowing that he has to sit there and live with himself every single day. But somebody that I was talking to this about last night, he said, well, people like Kohbergers of the world, they don't have any guilt or remorse or shame at all. So, you have to think about it that way too. And with us not being the families, part of me is like outsider looking in. I think, okay, he is admitting guilt. They do have some closure from that. Just knowing that if he's taken the guilty plea, that there will not be a trial, so they don't have to go through all of that. There is no chance that he's going to get off. There is no chance for the volume of appeals that he could file after the fact that would keep them wrapped up in something for potentially the rest of their lives. So to me, this is some form of justice. I know Kristen disagrees.
Kristen said, I feel like part of the plea should have been having to confess his shit to each family. This is an ad by BetterHelp. I am in therapy currently and I go weekly. And as we talked about fitting our work schedules in with our kids and everything else, we know that workplace stress is now the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress. And to battle stress, most of us can't wave goodbye to work, but we can start small with a focus on wellness, and that maybe going to the gym, going to therapy. I can promise you that BetterHelp is a great place to start.
Truly, just sitting in the sun this week has been great for my mental health. And I don't know if I updated you, but my therapist is now out of business. So I am seeking a new therapist with BetterHelp. And I just think that therapy is so great just for everyday stuff, like learning positive coping skills, how to be a better boundary setter. And it's truly empowering you to be the best version of yourself. You do not have to experience major trauma to be in therapy. With BetterHelp, you're going to have access to over 30,000 therapists. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally, which is huge. And it works with an app store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. It's a convenient go-to for me. It is the largest online therapy provider in the world. BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/coffee. That's betterhelp.com/coffee. You guys join me on this journey.
Here's my question to you, and knock on wood that this never happens to anyone, because obviously I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But in the event that your loved one was murdered by someone, you know without shadow of a doubt that this person did it, you know for a fact they've admitted it. Do you want to know details?
Yes. I think there is very much power in information. I also think that there's closure in information. So whether it be information that you might not, a normal person might not necessarily want to know, I think it lives rent free in your mind thinking, oh, well, what actually did happen? So would you rather that live rent free in your mind for the rest of your life, questioning what happened or knowing the heinous things that did happen?
It's interesting because when it comes to murder, I say that I would want to know, but I also don't know if I could stomach it. So I feel like I would just want the bigger questions asked, more like, did they fight back? Did they suffer? Was it quick? Those types of questions.
I think it would be a hard decision to make to request that information, but I think that there's no peace in that situation ever, right? Like, it's heinous. But I do think that there would be some sense of relief knowing, okay, this is exactly what this person did to my child. And now I can at least sleep at night knowing that I have those answers. I would like to know more than anything, the motive.
That is something that I need to know is he ever going to come forward and say anything? If he's pleading guilty at this point, will he ever come forward and say? Because I would love to know what the motive was. Like 1000% need to know what the motive was.
I mean, there's just been so much speculation like around what the motive was. I also saw something else probably a week or so ago that this company got a bunch of like volunteer people to go out and search the highway. They were looking for the murder weapon. And they were going to go and search. It's like a nonprofit or something like that. And they got a bunch of like local people to go with them to search ahead of trial to try to find where he threw the knife.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. And they were doing on TikTok, it was like this whole path of the directions that they were going to go and look in.
What makes them think it would still be there though?
That's what I said. And so my theory on that was this like this company that was trying to do this, trying to gain notoriety off of the case by attaching themselves to a search in the event that they did find the weapon, you know, it's just like for notoriety purposes. Like I hate that idea. And do we also think that Kohberger would have thrown a knife out on the highway? Because I'm going with no.
He's so it feels like he's so calculated. I don't know that he would risk it like that, but also where the fuck could it be? But at the point that he didn't have the sheath anymore, I don't know. It's hard to say. And then Kristen brought up an interesting situation where how do we feel about him being able to write books from prison unless the judge stops that? Selfishly, I obviously want to know like what he's going to say in like a tell-all or something. However, that being said, if he is able to write books, I do feel like the proceeds should go to the families. So it's like, okay, let him write books, please. And all the proceeds need to go to the families, need to go to, you know, the in order for justice to continue to be served, in my opinion. Wait, the fact that they didn't have the murder weapon and knocked the house down is fucking wild. That is crazy to me. And I will never understand why they did not wait until after trial to knock down that house. I will never understand it.
I don't understand that either, other than the fact that they probably didn't need to use the house because they had already planned that that was going to be off the table and they were going to use some type of mock-up.
But and I get that. And when I talked to Beth Karras on Barely Famous, she said that it's very rare for the jury to go physically into the home because everything is different. Like once certain things have been moved around and people have been in and out. But for me, I want to see for myself, I want to go into the place and see where the crime occurred, like compared with, you know, where the rooms were, where the people were. Like I understand that but they literally did it for the murders. So for me, like, why don't they just make that like case law that you have to be able to go walk? Because I just think that's so important.
I do think there's a lot of power in the knowledge of being able to walk through as if you were that person.
Idaho has failed. Father of University of Idaho murder victim slaps apparent Kohberger guilty plea. Steve is one of the many family members. Idaho has failed. They failed me and they failed my whole family. Kohberger's quadruple murder trial was set to take place in 5 weeks, where he faced charges in connection with the murders of Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee, who were found stabbed to death. It's my daughter. It's our children. How can you say it's just when you haven't even talked to us to see what justice looks like for us, which I think is so valid.
I do too.
The family said in a statement that prosecutors vaguely mentioned a possible plea Friday, quote, without seeking our input. It was a hard no from our family. 2 days later, the family received an email with a letter that appeared to move forward with the deal. So they're not even being told before it goes to the media. We know the graphics. They were not trying to spare us. The attorneys may have along the way warned him that if you go to this trial, there's a lot of evidence and you could be convicted, that the death penalty may result. But ultimately it was Kohberger's decision. I just feel like, why are they not updating the family on everything before it goes to the media? Like, that's so sad.
I was going to actually ask you that in a follow-up question. How would you feel if you had been, because I think the family are victims of this guy, right? So how would you feel knowing that this is going on behind the scenes and the media gets information before you do?
I mean, obviously on a lesser scale than fucking murder, that's happened to me. I've found out major things on the internet before I was told in real life, and that's devastating. So I can't even understand. I couldn't even understand how it would feel to have that happen when my child was murdered.
Well, just like you said, on a very different scale, there was just something that recently happened that you're aware of that I found out through different channels that my parents were pardoned.
Wait, you found out on the internet too?
I found out through book club.
What book club?
Your book club. Yeah. And
I am so sorry.
And I was going to dinner and sat down to order food and looked up at the TVs after you had texted me, and it was all over the TVs. And that's how I found out.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine, but I'm just saying I know how I felt in that situation. So I cannot even fathom how families would feel knowing that they have waited. What's it been, like 2 years? They've waited for this trial for 2 years. And I do not blame them for wanting the death penalty to be on the table.
I don't blame them either.
I think, as Kristen has told me before, an eye for an eye.
I have chills because I'm literally like the things that I've found out on the internet and know how I feel about it. Like when someone's life was taken and to find out information about something that devastating. I just think that the criminal justice system, the justice system, everybody has failed every single one of those victims and their families.
I think that the murder weapon is somewhere back where he's from. Like,
do you think his family is with him the same way that Brian Laundrie's family backed him? No. You don't?
I really don't. I know that I've read a couple of things. You've heard very, very little about the mother. Mm-hmm. And I've heard a couple of things that would indicate that she's a bit delulu regarding her son. And then the dad was in the car when he got pulled over, on the highway back home from school. The sisters, I believe, you got to consider, siblings know each other like the best. They grew up together. So I think the sisters probably know that he has had, mental health issues and struggled with certain things for a very long time. That would be very hard for me as a parent to, even if I had an inkling, to think that my child did that, to be able to stand behind them.
I read something about the sisters, and maybe we talked about it, that they were like they're going through it because they have the same last name as him. And so I think don't quote me on this.
One got fired.
One got fired. Yeah.
I read that somewhere too. I don't know how much truth there is to that, because you never know whenever you're reading articles in the media, a bunch of shit can be a lie, but that's just fucking crazy.
Coffee Convos podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies, so you save time on the research and can enjoy the savings when you choose the best rate for you.
Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. I don't know about you guys, but as soon as the temps start rising, I'm ready to swap out anything bulky and uncomfortable, and I start with my bras. So this summer, it's all about staying cool, comfortable, and supported, and that's where Honey Love's cutting-edge bra innovation comes in. I have one on right now, and if you're still dealing with the underwire, pokes, or bras that feel like body armor, it's time for a serious upgrade, and I'm not kidding. I could not handle the poking of the wire in my bras anymore. It was so uncomfortable. It was so annoying. And Honeylove makes the best wireless bras that feel like second skin. They're lightweight and breathable, and I'm going to wear them when I go horseback riding.
Listen, these are so great. Whether you're rocking a t-shirt, a tank top, a sundress, these bras give you just the right amount of lift without the squeeze. And that's thanks to years of research, development, and testing. It is truly the ultimate bra experience.
So treat yourself to the most comfortable and innovative bras on earth and save 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/coffee. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off honeylove.com/coffee. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Experience the new standard in bras with Honeylove. I wonder how Bryan's parents feel. Like, do you feel like you would feel like a failure as a parent if your child grew up to be a murderer? Because obviously, well, so here's the other thing too. And like, we did notes on an execution for my book club.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to give too much away for anyone who has not read the book or listened to it, but, it's a guy awaiting the death penalty for murder. And I always ask myself, and maybe I could find the statistics somewhere, like the difference between like murderers who have had childhood trauma versus the ones that haven't. Are there any that haven't? And what happened to Bryan Kohberger if he had a pretty normal and like unremarkable childhood? Like, is it mental illness or like what is it? Because I don't understand what makes a murderer. I don't necessarily think that people are born evil. I think you can be born mentally ill, and then certain other, traumas and things, impact and affect you and turn you into this evil person. But I don't know if people are born evil. And if Bryan Kohberger had a generally normal childhood, I think it might change my mind about if people can be born evil.
I would love to just know what the motive was and why he chose those kids. And was anyone that he murdered a casualty of the situation? Like,
were they just in the way?
Yeah. Like, did he go to do that to one person and then someone else saw him, so he did it to them too? Or like, was it always his game plan to do that to 4 people?
Kristen said everything I've seen was that he was after Maddie. So maybe it was like some sort of, obviously this is all speculation, but like maybe he was obsessed with her and it was like a stalker type of situation. And then he was surprised by Kaylee. Nobody's saying why he would go after Xana and her boyfriend though. Xana heard something, went upstairs. Okay, yeah. So he was after one person probably because he was obsessed.
But could you just imagine the level of illness that would have to be that obsessed to go to, what do they call it? Like casing a house. Could you just imagine going through lengths to buy a weapon, clean up materials, to
did he get all of that?
They say that the crime scene was cleaned up at the time of the murders.
Wait, he sat down in one of the rooms in Xana's from exhaustion? Time out. When was anyone going to tell me that? Because I just feel like, how did you have time if you were in and out that fast? And then also, he had to have known by casing supposedly carved up Ethan's legs. Carved him up in what way? What do you mean with that knife? But in what way, though? What did he put on them? Carved them up? What does that even mean?
Allegedly, from what came out, this is pretty recent. I've heard about it a while ago, but it came up again recently and was circulating on TikTok that he like took the knife and carved into Ethan's legs.
With what time? I thought this whole thing transpired in like 13 minutes.
And it was cleaned up. It has been reported that it was cleaned up. So that's what I've said. Like the level of...
Well, so then I need to what the other roommates were doing that were awake, because
we've always
they said what they were doing. They literally came out and said that they were texting. So they had the text messages between the 2 survivors. They then said that they were able to track that by text messages and location of the phones, that one of them ran to the other's room in the basement and ran past Xana's room and saw her laying on the floor. And
what?
he was passed out drunk, went to the room in the basement, stayed there, was texting, calling roommates, went to sleep. One of them woke up, texted and called roommates again, never came out of the room, called their parent, then called friends to come over, which is who came to the house and found what had gone on, and then got them all out and called 911.
Here's the thing. Selfishly, I need Bryan Kohberger to write, and who knows if it would actually be the truth, but there would be something of the truth in the book. I need to, like, why, if you're going to plead guilty and you're going to go to prison for the rest of your life, like, why not give everybody the peace of knowing what the fuck went on?
But shouldn't that be a part of the plea? That he has to come clean and answer any question coming from any of the families or their attorneys?
If anyone is listening, let me know how I can get to Bryan Kohberger to come on Barely Famous podcast for the love of all things.
Actually, this is when you and I really need to get our trench coats out.
And just go all the way, you know.
We're going to Idaho.
How do we get in touch with Bryan Kohberger? Like, what interview? Because at some point he's gonna talk.
Mm-hmm.
Surely he will, unless he's one of those people that just waits until the day he dies, and he truly doesn't. Like, he is probably gloating with the fact that nobody truly knows.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we're not going to hear anything from him
because
he's going to plead guilty.
Maybe he'll pull a Chris Watts and he'll. Jordan Vandersloot. 1000%, or Chris Watts, where Chris Watts is just now saying, oh, by the way, my lover was also involved because he realized that the fucking lust has worn off.
Not the lust.
Well, people think they're in love and they do weird shit. And then come to find out, it's like a year has gone by and the newness wears off and you're like, oh, fuck. Like, that's what that was. I've been there.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's do this listener topic. Okay. This listener says, do I stand alone in keeping my kids' bedtime consistent with the school year during the summer? Because my little one, who is also autistic, will wake up early, even if she's up late. And I also don't have a support system. So I low-key need my me time so I don't get burnt out. I'm also autistic. I will say I may have 1 or 2 days a month that I let her be up late for special events, but for the most part, she has school night all year long. I completely understand as a single mom needing alone time, but also wanting to let your kids just be kids. Kind of what you and I were just talking about. Like, everything goes rogue in the summer and it's like no fucking rules. And then you get 45 days into summer and you're like, this shit sucks. I do about 50-50. I let Jackson stay up in the summer about 50% of the nights during the week late, and then the other night. So it's like on a rotation. Like, one night it's late, the next night it's on time.
This summer, I am trying to keep them pretty consistent with the school year, only because we have so much going on my weeks. If Kristen showed y'all my schedule for my weeks in the summertime, y'all would be floored, because there's just no way that I would be burnt out if I did not keep them consistent with bedtime. I also, and this is no shade to the dads at all, I'm not judging what they do. I don't care what they do on their weeks as long as my kids are safe. I don't know what their bedtime schedule is at their dad's, and I truthfully don't care for the summertime. Whatever they do at their dad's is what they do at their dad's. But over here, I have to keep it consistent because we had, like, I got them back. Well, I guess I had them all last week, and then we came right to the lake on Sunday, but then they're going to go to their dad's when we get back. And in order to keep it consistent, obviously there's going to be some days where we're like going to go do something and they're going to be up late. But to your point, like, I'm trying to balance it out pretty easily.
I feel like specifically in situations where you're sharing custody with someone, you have to try to get on the same page when it comes to what's going on at one house and the other. And that's not for a control purpose. That is strictly for stability,
well-being
for the kids. You know, Jackson really hasn't been home. I said this yesterday. He hasn't really been home but a couple of days this summer because we've just been like going from place to place, or when Will gets him, he takes him to his parents' lake house. So he's just kind of bouncing around, and there is absolutely no schedule of anything that's going on right now. Like Will and I are not on our normal co-parenting schedule. We decided to take a week, like this week I took 7 days. Next week he's taking 7 days. That's absolutely not our norm. But I think with the bedtime stuff, Will's way more strict about the bedtime than I am.
Well, I think it's just the consistency. And like I was saying when we first started this recording, when Emily and I decided, okay, we're going to get the kids to bed at a decent hour while we're here, it's actually provided a lot of just peace of mind for everyone. And the kids haven't fought us on it. So it's like they're doing all the things during the day and then are willing to go to sleep at night. I don't know. It's working out. But whatever anyone does is up to them. Like, I'm not judging anybody. Like, if y'all let your kids stay up until 3:00 in the morning in the summertime, by all means, I'm not judging at all.
Yeah, that's on you if you decide to let them stay up and burn the midnight oil.
Rocket Money has been a long time game changer for Lindsie and myself. We are absolutely obsessed with Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. And I have to tell you that when I first signed up for Rocket Money, it canceled 8 subscriptions for me as soon as I logged in. And I was like, I didn't even realize that I was paying for double subscriptions, or I forgot about trials that turned into subscriptions, and I was paying for them every month and had no idea. So once I cut that out, I was able to start saving right then. And that's how I paid for my in-ground pool, which I've told you guys a million times before this, and I can't rave about them enough.
Listen, for anybody who has not downloaded the Rocket Money app, you guys need to do this. You can see all of your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. So for ones that you're not going to want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them. Rocket Money's dashboard also gives you a clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts, so you can easily create personalized budget with custom categories to help keep your spending on track. And you can see your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Download the Rocket Money app and enter our show name, Coffee Combos with Kail Lowry and Lindsie Chrisley, in the survey so that they know that we sent you. Don't wait. Download the Rocket Money app today and tell them that you heard about them from our show.
I did get to talk to Lincoln yesterday on FaceTime.
Okay.
So yeah. And it actually, he didn't FaceTime me. He FaceTimed Elliot. So he was like, Mom, I have someone on the phone. And I'm like, who is it? Like, I didn't know because, we have a set schedule for when I can talk to Lincoln while he's at Hobbies. And so I didn't know if it was him or not. And so he let me talk to him on his phone. And I was just like, oh, like, it's so weird, but like, I don't know. Like, I feel like this could be a good, like, he's going to get uninterrupted time rather, with his dad. And then when he's with me, like, there are times where I only go to sports with just him. Like, a lot of the times when I take Lincoln to practices and games, I don't take the other kids because that's our time. You know what I mean? So, and it's just easier just to take him or just to take him and Lux. And so I think it'll be okay. I think it's going to be okay. I miss him, and it sucks that there's like a fucking schedule, but I understand, and I hope that he has the best summer.
But I'm sure you also feel a sense of being robbed, because I think it's normal to feel like it's a robbery when someone's doing school and then someone's doing the summer. Like, I could never do a custody situation like that, because then it's like, okay, I'm doing all the nitty gritty stuff on a daily basis of the must of life, and you get to do the things that are the wants of life.
It's definitely bittersweet because I feel that too. It's like he gets to do all the fun stuff. So if he ends up wanting to live there full time, it's like, well, of course, because he was doing all the fun stuff over there. Yeah. And then I come, we're on vacation and we don't have him. So when we're making reservations, it's weird to not have Lincoln with us.
I would love to know from you, though, how do you feel about the scheduled parenting calls? Because when I first got divorced, I will never forget, I went by the book. It was like, in this house, this is what this custody order says, and you can call between this time and this time. And I think that it probably, now looking back on it, I can take accountability and say, I did it because I also was struggling. And so I didn't want constant phone calls or text messages coming in outside of that time. And I found myself moving away from that the more I healed. When you've got a kid like Lincoln's age, and I can relate Lincoln to Jackson, I've taken more the approach of, I'm going to let Jackson call me or text me whenever he wants to. And if I'm busy or like I'm working or I'm doing something, I'm quick to send a text back and say, hey, buddy, like mom's doing blah, blah, blah. I will call you back in just a little bit, whatever. We pretty much do not go off of anything in the parenting plan at this point.
It's just there for backup.
Yeah. And I think that if you get to a good place, and I don't think anybody's ever healed, right? I think when you do heal, or you are more healed than whenever you started, I think you can get to that place where you don't have to go off of a piece of paper to raise your child, because I do think that that's a little crazy.
Yeah, I think, but in the meantime, it has to be there.
Yeah. Did you see where Lululemon filed a lawsuit against Costco?
No, why? Are they selling dupes?
It says, yeah. Remember when Kristen told us we weren't allowed to say that on Instagram, but we could say it on here? And then I overly used the word dupe on the podcast for a long time because I just felt like validated.
I did not know.
Kristen said that we need to do we should start making TikToks a day in the life.
Help me fit 10 hours of work into a 4-hour day.
Yes. Okay. So it says Lululemon has filed a lawsuit against Costco claiming that the retailer is purposely selling dupes at a significantly lower price.
Okay, and
I'm just confused why
what's
we
the
care.
problem? What is the problem? If your brand is so great and everybody loves it, and because also it's a dupe, you can't tell me that I can't sell something similar.
Mm-hmm. It says in a lawsuit filed in federal court in California, all of the stuff was obtained by People magazine. It says Lululemon alleges that Costco private label line Kirkland unlawfully traded on Lululemon's reputation, goodwill, and sweat equity by selling unauthorized and unlicensed apparel, employing knockoff, infringing versions of its products.
Maybe Lululemon could drop their prices and make it affordable for people, and nobody would have to buy a dupe.
You know, I haven't been to Lululemon. You would be proud of me. I have not been to Lululemon probably in 6 months. And because of all of the dupes, I feel like it's so wasteful, and I no longer can justify spending what I would spend at Lululemon to have their products for the label to be on my ass. So I love the fact that Costco might have, you know what, really, in fact, this lawsuit does nothing but shine light on Costco and how great they are. And I'm probably going to go and get a membership now just to get the leggings.
Well, I have 2 friends that work there at Costco. First of all, Costco, I can't rave about them enough. What I do know about them, my 2 friends that work there love working there. One works the day shift and one works the night shift, and they love it. And I don't know if they still do, but at the time, when I talked to them about Costco, they said they offer their part-time employees benefits. And they talk about like their vacation packages and stuff like that. So I'm actually going to text my girlfriend and see, hey, do you know about the Lululemon legging dupes at Costco? I'm going to see if she can get me some, and I'll give her some money. I don't know if she's allowed to do that, though. I'm not here to get her in trouble.
Kristen's like, if either of these bitches buy one more membership to another fucking place.
I wish we had a Costco closer. It's about an hour from my house.
I would love to know, the people who are listening to this, are you more of a Costco girly or a Sam's girly? Because Costco. I feel like I find more stuff at Sam's.
It's
cheaper.
It's Costco for me. I have a Sam's close to me, but I prefer Costco.
Like every single time that I go into a Sam's Club, I get caught up in like their seasonal section, making myself believe that I need all of these things that I really don't need. Love that for me. I also find more snacks that we eat in my house at Sam's. I think that they have better priced meat. Everything to me is better price at Sam's. I will say the baked goods, I prefer to purchase those. Like we're talking, like banana bread and like shit like that. I prefer that from Costco.
Okay. I honestly should get membership at both because there are some things at Sam's that I like. I just prefer Costco, which is so fucking far.
Okay, this next listener says, "Hey guys, I love you both so much. I've been a fan and listener for years. I need your advice. So I recently found out that my stepmother has been friends with my husband's ex-wife and her mother for over 3 years behind my back."
Wait. Read that back for me. It's who and who?
She recently found out that her stepmother had been friends with her ex-husband's with her husband, not her ex-husband, with her husband's ex-wife and the ex-wife's mother for over 3 years behind my back. And I'm going to stop this right there and then we will continue. I think that situations where someone has been married before, you get into that situation knowing that there were relationships that were existing before you. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing.
See, I don't know. I draw a line. I do understand that there's a time frame, and obviously it's not a one size fits all situation. So before everyone attacks us on the Facebook group, I understand there are established relationships, but at the point that you have family members that are posting pictures and it's a slap in the face a little bit, I think.
Yeah,
if you're posting pictures, really?
This is why I think that it's okay. For example, in my situation, I was a part of Will's family and they took me on as their own for 12 or 13 years, right? Mm-hmm. To this day, Will has been in other relationships. I have been in other relationships. I still have text communication with his dad. And
you're an ex-wife with a child.
Yeah.
So I do think that changes the game a little bit. We're talking the way that I was thinking is no kids together, never been married.
Okay. I mean, I can see more your perspective on that with not being married and not having a kid. I do think that changes the entire dynamic. Let's see what her situation is. So she says, "I found this out through my 14-year-old daughter who my stepmother told her not to tell me." Okay, that's a big no-no. Telling a child
to keep a secret.
Yeah. Have you ever told your kids safe adults don't ask children to keep secrets?
Yeah.
So I agree. That's one red flag.
I just took a video of myself getting ready for this podcast episode. While I was getting ready, I used Thrive liquid lash extensions. So I will post the tube of mascara that we have on our Coffee Combos Instagram. I'm obsessed with all of Thrive Cosmetics products. So whether you're all about simple mascara and gloss or you love to play with bold shapes and colors, there's always a trusty favorite you'll use for every look. Thrive Cosmetics makes certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free products that you can depend on for everything from simple daily wear to show-stopping self-expression. And it's all made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that are high performance and trademark formulas, and they're uncompromising standards.
I love the liquid lash extensions mascara. You and I have used this mascara for years. Also in my makeup kit, I have the Brilliant Eye Brightener. It is an eyeshadow highlighter stick that is made to brighten and open your eyes, giving you that instant eye lift. You can apply it to the inner corner of your eyes to look more rested and effortless. The Liquid Lash Extensions mascara has over 40,000 5-star reviews, 5 shades that last all day without clumping, smudging, or flaking. And it truly does look like lash extensions without the damaging glue or the salon prices. My favorite part of this, though, is the easy removal. It just slides right off with warm water and a washcloth. There is no soap that is required. flake-free tubing formula that dramatically lengthens and defines your lashes from root to tip. So try your new trusty favorites with an exclusive set for our listeners. New customers can get the Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara and a mini-size Brilliant Eye Brightener at a special set price with free shipping available at thrivecosmetics.com/coffee, or save more with 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/coffee. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/coffee for 20% off your first order.
Along with my stepmother asking for my stepdaughter's address to send her gifts, etc. A little backstory: she doesn't live with her mother since she was almost expelled from school for smoking weed in class. She lived with us for a year before we kicked her out due to finding vapes that she was hiding 4 times, along with getting suspension in school for getting caught with one, and she now lives with her grandmother. She's 16. Once I found this out, I have not spoken to my stepmother nor my father. I deleted the Facebook app so that they could not call me, but my stepmother recently blocked me and my husband on Facebook. For what? Mind you, my stepmother and my ex-husband's ex-wife and her mother have never spoken in real life, let alone see each other. When we found out about it, my husband texted my stepmother and asked why she was friends with him, and she said that she didn't know what he was talking about. She asked her again, why are you friends with my ex-wife on Facebook? She said, oh, I've been friends with them for over 3 years. I never look at my friends on there. There's a lot more to add to this, but it's already long enough. So am I in the wrong for being pissed about this?
I think if it wasn't kept like behind your back, if it was pretty much open, transparent, it was not a big deal, I think it would be less upsetting. But I think at the point that you're trying to keep it a secret and you're doing it in a way that makes it seem like there are ill intentions or like malicious intent, that's where it's upsetting.
I also think that it's really weird if you don't know someone or you've never seen them and you're adding them on Facebook, knowing what the connection is.
It's giving let's bond over the fact that we don't like the same person.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's giving. And I don't think that I can get behind this scenario.
No, I don't. I agree with you.
Feel like it might be a little, toxic.
I would agree. Toxic. Toxic.
Are you okay?
Toxic. No, I'm not okay. I am not well. You know what? We're going horseback riding after this. And last year when we went, the horse took off with Elliot on it. And it was the funniest thing. Also, Lux's horse just stopped to take a piss. And if you've ever seen a horse take a piss, it's a wild thing to witness. I'm not well. I've cried on this podcast, which I had no intentions of doing. And now this. So.
And you're going horseback riding. Like, if
I'm ready for my butt cheeks to hurt.
Riding, I just wouldn't.
You wouldn't go horseback riding?
No, I used to, like, all the time when I was a little kid. I feel like it's a activity that my mom used to take me and Kyle to do. And I'm just not a fan,
Yeah, no, I get that. And some people aren't, but I'm not really giving my kids a choice. Like, we're going to go do something fun today.
Oh, okay. So let me ask you that. With multiple kids, do you let one choose an activity? Like, let's say you're going somewhere for 5 days and you have 5 kids there. Does one person get to choose an activity each day, or are they all having to agree on it, or y'all just making the decisions for them?
A combo of both. It's like, what do you want to do? Like, what are you hoping to? It's sort of like you're not going to let the kids make the decision, but you'll consider their input.
Mm-hmm.
So what types of things are y'all wanting to do? And they shoot some stuff out. Some of them might agree, some of them might not. And then I'll see what I can get scheduled.
I have realized that I've got to reel in like my level of choices that I give, because in this household on this vacation, I've become a short order cook. Mm-hmm. I'm cooking like multiple things for the same meal.
Yep.
I'm negotiating if we're crab hunting or playing board games. And
crab hunting?
Yeah. Yeah. You've never done that at night, like on the beach?
No, I've never heard of that in my entire life.
Taste the crabs. You've never, like, what?
Crab hunting.
Yeah.
I'm going to add that to my list of things to do when we go to South Carolina.
Yeah. Will y'all be on the beach?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just like go out at night and you take a flashlight and you'll see them like scurrying around.
I have never heard of this in my entire life.
Our kids take tongs down to the beach to try to catch
Not
them.
tongs.
And they call them crabbers.
Crabbers.
Yeah, not grabbers, crabbers.
I'm
and
dead.
on that note, we have foul play.
Foul play. Good morning, kitty cats. I have one for foul play. All right. We went to Arizona for vacation, my husband and I, plus our 2 kids. We stayed with my husband's grandparents, like 80 years old, in their 3-bedroom home for 12 days with 2 grandparents and 2 kids and us. So the kids had their room they shared. We had ours, and grandma and grandpa across the house in their room. Well, we did the laundry, so of course we got frisky in bed together while we were there, but the bed frame was so goddamn loud the whole house had to have heard us. So we tried to avoid doing it in bed. So we were in the pool day 9 and we all planned to go out to eat. Okay, cool. Get the kids in the shower, take a shower. Instead of showering right away, we turn the water on and he thinks it's a good idea to go down on me. Throws me up on the sink and goes down on me. Okay, cool. I can be hush hush. So that happened. And then the heat of the moment rushed over us and he pulled me off, turned me around, slammed me on the counter and started going to town. Finally, fine. We will be secretive again, except for this time he isn't able to be quiet. He's loud and I'm hushing him, but the shower is still on. So we're clapping cheeks. His grandma knocks on the fucking door mid-clap, like my ass is bouncing off his stomach area. And she goes, almost time to leave for our reservation, you guys. I have never pulled myself off and out of him so fast. Start laughing to hide my extremely red face and jump in the shower to now basically rush getting clean. When I tell you I could not look at this lady during dinner and all my husband could do is laugh and remind me she's partially deaf, so she definitely had no clue, and still to this day thinks she's judging me for getting down in her spare bathroom. We're going back for our annual vacation here soon and we're renting an Airbnb this year. I can't let good old Grams catch my cheeks clapping again.
Okay, couple things on this. Number 1, do you feel like super uncomfy knowing when you're sharing a house with like other adults that you're in there fucking?
It depends who it is. I like there are certain people like I do not like. One time I was on a work trick, imagine. My baby daddies would love that. One time I was on a work trip and my boyfriend was there and we were attempting to have sex and there was other adults in the house and it was just a fucking disaster. But Kristen was there. I actually think you were there as well.
Was I there?
I think you were there.
What was going on? I also don't think I've ever been with a man that's been like a loud fucker.
Yeah, it's always me. That's the loud one.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm out here causing a scene.
Yeah, it's usually me, but the cheek clapping is actually really funny to me.
It's really funny. I also need to know if you like shower sex.
I don't love it because it changes the glide to like a rubbery stop. You know what I mean? Like because
I felt that same way.
And how do you change it?
You don't fuck in the shower. You fuck in the bed.
I prefer to fuck. Huh?
You prefer what?
To fuck in the bed.
Yeah, me too. I think it's like the
shower.
Well,
yeah, and you know what? Missionary is my favorite.
I mean, you know what? Maybe like a little bend over the bathroom counter action, like might sometimes mix it up. Doggy holding the headboard. Like.
Have you ever done like the side, like from the side? Like,
yeah, like where you're like both laying down and then it's just like sliding in.
Yeah, but like you're on your side.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah, I think it's like a lazy way to do it, but like it's pretty good.
No, that one's great. You said I'm a missionary, Curly.
I do love it. I just think it's intimate, and I feel like it's like one of those like I don't know. It's the passion.
You know what? Missionary is great for intimacy purposes. Outside of that, I'm not really fucking with being a missionary.
No, it's more for the intimacy portion of it. Do you know what I mean?
Are you a big like kisser and stuff when you're fucking?
I don't think so. Like a little bit of that is nice, but like I'm not doing it the whole time. It's not like the books that I read. You know what I mean? Like it's not like
Kristen out here blowing up our chat saying,
what the fuck? Oh, I was front and center. Yes, you were. Never forget. No, you weren't that loud that time. He was for sure. Water is not lube. PSA. Todd is going to come for Lindsie. Oh, Todd's out now. He's coming for Lindsie.
Coffee Combos Podcast is up for nomination in the Society Culture category for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Voting is open now through July 31st. To vote, you guys can click the link in the description of this episode, or y'all can visit our Instagram, Facebook, or official Facebook group. We really appreciate you guys. I am so excited for this.
I'm so excited, and thank you all for listening, for supporting our show, for supporting our shenanigans all the time. We appreciate you.
Please subscribe and review on the Apple Podcast app, follow and rate on Spotify, or listen wherever you get your pods. Full video episodes are now available on Kail's Patreon at www.patreon.com/Kail Lowry. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and join our Facebook group to connect with us and our community. We hope you guys have a fantastic week, and we'll see you soon.